Hey, Scott Luton with Supply Chain Now as we continue our coverage here at a great event, the Gartner Supply Chain Symposium, meeting with the movers and shakers, transforming how global supply chain happens. And I'm delighted to spend some time here with Jett McCandless, founder and CEO with Project 44. Jett, how you doing?
Great. Thanks for hosting.
You
Thanks for having me
bet.
here.
Great to see you, man. Great to see you. So before we get into all things supply chain, especially how we're changing how supply chain happens, I got to ask you a question. What do you spend your time on in the weekends and the evenings when you need to blow off some steam? What's one of your hobbies there?
In the summertime, certainly mountain biking. Yeah. Mountain biking in Jackson Hole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only in the summer? I guess it's tough to do it in the snow, huh?
Yeah. I guess to do the winter version of mountain biking, skiing in the winter.
Okay, either or. Mountain biking, skiing. What's one of the most picturesque mountain biking venues? And that's I'm new to mountain biking. Okay. I'm working on my diet activities. Mountain biking is number 3 on the list. We'll see if I get there. But what's one of your favorite venues?
Certainly Whistler. I think it's beautiful. BC is just incredible.
Sounds. We all need nice breath of fresh air from time to time, right? Mountain biking, skiing, or otherwise. Um, all right, let's talk about supply chain. The impetus for what gets you out there on that mountain bike, and there's very beautiful ski slopes. Why is it so important that the future of supply chain is not seeing, but is doing and is acting? Your thoughts there?
Yeah, it's a thoughtful question. If we think about visibility, which is somewhat of a synonym for seeing, it is a passive event itself. Here as we sit here and we're seeing around the room, what type of actions are we gonna do with that? I think that's the same thing when it comes to software for supply chain. Um, when we think about seeing, we think about pulling in all this AI data of current events, social media, data points from carriers, bringing it all in to create that visibility product. But that execution or that act is really what tends to be most important. That's where the money is lost or made.
Right.
And it's also where you can add the most amount of AI on to create big outcomes for the customers.
Yeah, love that. And even beyond the margins, when we can really guide what actions, what decisions need to be made, we can really help and position the human factor, the beautiful human factor,
Yeah,
to find more success every single day, right?
that's right.
And if they can achieve success easier, that's good for the organization and good for industry.
That's right.
Yep. All right. So let me ask you about Project 44. A lot of folks may be predicting that Project 44 is evolving into the operating system for global supply chains. But is that how you see it, Jett?
Well, it's certainly something that we've talked about or customers have mentioned to us before. It is difficult to kind of land the plane on exactly what the right terminology is. Is it a control tower? Is it an operating system? Is it a what exactly is that? But at the end of the day, I think if we kind of zoom out and think about what does the industry need and what does it want? Well, it wants something that's interoperable, and it wants software that can pull data, whether it's from visibility or from a TMS or yard management, and pull those pieces together. And we've built all of that already. And so, yeah, it certainly has some similarities to like what your iPhone would have, where it's directing different applications. I mean, our platform, our operating system, if that's what you want to call it, coordinates with competitors' visibility platforms. And so it very much has that operating system type system in. It has the ability to not only have the C part, but also have the action part of that execution. And so, yeah, I think we never set out to be a visibility company. We set out to be something much, much bigger.
Yeah.
Visibility just got so big with the Suez Canal, if you remember that jam. And then that little thing called COVID.
Oh man.
And so that took years for us to put together the visibility platform that was globally to have that C product. But now, it's time to move on to other parts of our vision.
I like it. I like it. And interoperability, which you started with, man, critical now, and it will only grow in the criticality for global supply chains everywhere as we need all these technology platforms and apps, if you name it, play nice in the sandbox, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, let's we talked about the operating system for global supply chain. Let's kind of narrow that down just a smidge to the backbone of global supply chain, logistics. So what's the role of AI in the operating system for logistics?
Yes. So I think AI's got obviously a huge role. I don't think anyone would disagree with that at this point. So if you think about an operating system and building this interoperability between all these platforms, that in itself, costs us probably $600 million to build and create that global footprint around the world to have that vision. But if you think about what do you do with all that data? So, we have over a billion API calls a day, over 4.5 million unique shipments a day go through the platform. So it's just an incredible amount of data there. And then it's really a couple folds. One is how can you take the AI and just make it behind the scenes, improve data from the carriers. We've been doing that for about 5 years. In fact, we acquired an AI company, machine learning, for $65 million 4 years ago, and that was primarily to just improve the data from the carriers.
Yep.
But then we think about the AI on more customer facing, that they can see or create more outcomes that they feel like features that they can have. And so you can start to bring in news feeds and social media disruptions. You can start to have which we've done quite successfully.
Yeah.
You can have a chatbot that essentially is a logistics assistant that starts to take all this operating data and pull it together and be there to help you actually coordinate, kind of in a co-pilot type environment. But then you also have just the agents themselves communicating and sending information, whether it's communicating to the carriers, communicating to the suppliers, communicating to other folks. And so when you have all this data and all this flow, I guess another foundational part that's really important is that we have the collaboration tooling internally. All the different nodes can be communicated with, and you can stop asking customers then to go and do it, and the AI will actually do it for you. I think that's a really important thing because I think that software won't be nobody really wants to buy software to help do the job.
Right.
People want to buy tech to do the job.
Yes.
So
I am with you. I saw someone somewhere put it that we don't want AI to write our songs and play our golf game. We want AI to do the laundry and wash the car, right? That's what we want in life. And one other point you made, I think, as you were illustrating this, the data ecosystem behind global supply chain, I'll call it. So many tremendous opportunities can be found in there as you're gathering all these different subsets of data, some clean, some dirty, but it could unlock all sorts of innovations. And the other thing that sticks out, at least to me, is transforming how global supply chain happens is not cheap. You mentioned a variety of investments and innovations. It takes healthy investments to change how we have been doing business for decades, huh?
yep, sure does. Requires a lot of capital.
Yes, it does. All right. So I want to get, I was asking you earlier, how is your crystal ball doing? Is it working pretty good?
Yeah, I would say my personal crystal ball, not so good. Like if we were talking about the AI as a proxy for our crystal ball in the platform, I'd say it's working pretty well.
Okay.
But
Well, good. Well, you may have a leg up on a lot of folks out in the market there. I want to ask you this, your take on the consolidation in freight tech and where we're headed. More platforms, more silos. Where are we headed?
yeah, so I think that there's some really well established tech players out there in supply chain, but I find it a little bit interesting that if you really want, like, in the public markets, if you want exposure to supply chain tech, you really can only invest in the legacy companies. There aren't a lot of what I'd call Gen 2 log tech companies out there, supply chain tech, that have actually had an IPO yet. And so, but I do think that when you are public, it's a great currency for making acquisitions. And then you've seen these public kind of legacy Gen 1 companies make acquisitions, and it's part of their growth strategy. I was looking at one the other day. It's 50% organic, 50% through acquisitions, and I think they'll probably keep that recipe for quite some time. I don't think that it always lives up to the hype of what's supposed to be there. I think Art Metzler's on here just in a couple of minutes
Yeah.
to talk about that. quite a bit. I was reading his paper that he released for this Gartner event, and he starts to pull on this thread that basically says these companies doing all these roll ups never really integrate them as well as they say, and never do it as fast as they will say. Now, I can tell you from someone that's done 6 acquisitions, there's certainly a lot of truth to that. It's always over budget and always takes longer. Yeah. Luckily, we finally got there. We've also mostly stopped acquiring because of it, because it does slow down the innovation cycle when the organization's so focused on that.
Yep.
Growth strategy. And so, but the promise is when you make all these acquisitions is that the integration's already done for you. But what we could see with these new emerging technologies, whether it's agents or APIs that have been out there for a while, we see that the friction points themselves aren't as high or as great as they have historically been. So it starts to reduce the burden if you're a company buying, and you start to look at more, well, who's has that interoperability.
Yeah.
And so I do think that the large companies, including us, will continue to acquire. Some will acquire for growth, and some, I guess, will continue to acquire when it adds real strategic value. But I also think that it's too big for a winner take all. And it might even be too big for a winner take most.
Excellent. I think your crystal ball is working great, by the way. You don't need my opinion, but it's interesting if I'm hearing you correctly. The wiring that goes on within organizations when acquisitions take place or mergers has always been historically difficult, right? But what I'm hearing you say, especially here in the golden age of supply chain tech, and especially related to technology get-togethers, those integrations can become easier and easier, perhaps. Okay, outstanding. Or it won't slow down the innovation cycle, as you put it, as bad as historically it has.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So one of my final questions to you, Jett, is on a related note. We've got a ton of aspiring supply chain and other entrepreneurs out there, and we love them all. All right, been there, done that. I'd love to. I'll be looking for your entrepreneurial book at some point soon, but in the limited time we've got, and you think back, especially for the first time founders out there that maybe they've already launched and they're in the trenches, or maybe they've got a great idea they're trying to bring to fruition, and they're in kind of that pre-launch phase. What is one really important lesson you learned along the way that you want to offer that might give them a little motivation and piece of the puzzle here today?
Yeah, well, I'd say if you're going down the path of being a tech entrepreneur and you don't have technical chops, I would say get someone that's very strong technical that you have a good chemistry with. Um, that said, I think we definitely will enter in. People are suggesting now there's no code type environments to stand up products, but it certainly does require people that like to play around and tinker.
Yeah.
Is the word, as the word tinker with technology.
Yes.
Which tends to be people that have gone in that field. But I think the big thing is who's the team. If you're going to go with venture capital, make sure that there's someone that's you have a chemistry with. Do your research, do your references on how they act on the good days and the bad days, because there certainly will always be good and bad days,
Right.
along the way there. Have some fun doing it, and I really like this concept that's out there nowadays of like tiny teams.
Yes.
And that's I would explore that a lot.
I love that. Especially the tinkering part, the experimentation, especially in how easy it can be done in the vacuum with technology these days. That's a great call out. And I think the other really $1 billion idea that Jett just shared is doing your homework on the values of the partners you're going to be with, because it's easy to be a good partner on a good day.
Sure. Yeah.
It's those tough days when all of a sudden you see someone come out that you haven't seen in the relationship process up to that point. Okay. Well, Jett, really appreciate what you're doing. Appreciate what you're doing out in the industry. How can folks learn a lot more about what you are doing at Project 44?
I'd say go to project44.ai. Follow me on LinkedIn. I think those are 2 good spots.
I think I agree with you. I agree with you. Jett McCandless, founder and CEO with Project 44. Jett, a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
You bet. Folks, stick around as we continue our conversations with the movers and shakers. Again, it's a perfect example, transforming how global supply chain takes place here at Gartner Supply Chain Symposium. You can find all of our content, all of our interviews over at supplychainnow.com.